Have you ever wondered who not to be kind to, even when you've been taught to treat everyone with respect? As you age, your time, energy, and peace become too precious to give away to anyone who asks for it. The older you get, the more you realize that kindness isn't always the gift you think it is. It can sometimes be a trap. There are people out there who feed off your generosity, your patience, and your quiet compliance. The longer you let them in, the more they take without you even noticing. In this video, we're diving into the 5 types of people you should stop being kind to as you grow older. These aren't just strangers or casual acquaintances. We're talking about those who sit closest to you, family, neighbors, even old friends. But if you're not careful, their toxic behaviors can drain you in ways that are hard to see. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who to watch out for, why their presence can wear you down, and how to safeguard your emotional health. No guilt, no apology. Your later years aren't about fixing others. They're about preserving your peace. Let's jump in. Number 1, the constant taker. One of the biggest red flags that someone no longer deserves your kindness is when they show up only when they need something. You know the type. When they reach out, it's never just for a casual chat or to share a good memory. It's always a request, a favor, a ride, a loan, your time, and it always needs to happen right now. Take someone like Gloria, 71, who's always been the go-to person in her family. Need a last-minute babysitter? Call Gloria. Need someone to look after your dog while you're away? Gloria's your girl. But over time, Gloria started noticing something. When her own birthday came, the phone didn't ring. When she was sick for a week, no one even dropped by with soup or sent a text. That's when it dawned on her. Her relationships weren't balanced. She was the giver, constantly, and the giving never came back. It's a strange kind of guilt that hits when you start pulling back from people like this, especially if they're family. You might convince yourself that being needed is a good thing, that saying no is selfish, that maybe next time they'll realize how much you do. But here's the truth. If someone only values you when you're useful to them, they don't truly value you at all. To them, you're not a person, you're a resource. And the older you get, the more dangerous that becomes because your resources, your time, your energy, even your physical health, are no longer unlimited. Giving it to someone who only takes is like pouring water into a cup with a hole at the bottom. You have the right to say no. You have the right to set boundaries. You have the right to protect the peace and strength you've earned for those who actually care. If someone walks away because you stop saying yes every time, that's all you need to know. You were never loved. You were just convenient. Don't let your kindness feel like a burden. Don't let your generosity turn into chains, because in these years, every moment you give should be one that fills you back up too. Number 2, the chronic critic. There's a particular kind of weariness that builds up when you're constantly around someone who always finds something to criticize, whether it's your clothes, your choices, or your past. These people don't yell or curse, but their words hurt just the same, because they're delivered in tiny, steady doses that gradually chip away at your confidence. Think of someone like Raymond, 82, who visits his cousin every Sunday. He brings fresh bread, checks in on the house, and tries to keep the bond alive. Yet every time his cousin finds something to pick apart. Your hair looks different. Why did you sell that chair? You're too sensitive. At first, Raymond brushed it off, telling himself it was no big deal. But after years of these visits, he started feeling smaller, second-guessing his choices and even losing the excitement he once had about those Sundays. The danger with chronic criticism isn't just in the words. It's in how they slowly erode your trust in yourself. These people disguise their cruelty as helping or being honest. But what they're really doing is eating away at your peace, one comment at a time. If you let it go unchecked, you begin to shrink. You stop sharing your thoughts. You stop trying new things. You brace yourself before every conversation, wondering what they'll tear apart next. At this stage in life, you've earned the right to feel comfortable in your own skin. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to explain or justify your choices. If someone consistently leaves you feeling small, wrong, or broken, it's time to stop letting them have such easy access to your life. Kindness doesn't mean being a target for disguised abuse, no matter how nice it sounds. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to step back and say, I'm done letting you rewrite my story. If you're still with me and finding these insights helpful, comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us keep making content that informs and inspires. Now let's keep going. Number 3, the guilt tripper. There's a unique kind of heaviness that comes from being around someone who always knows how to twist a situation to make you feel like the bad guy. They don't shout, they don't argue, they just give you that look, drop a few well-placed words, and suddenly you're left wondering if you've done enough, if you're good enough, or if somehow you failed them. These are the guilt trippers, and they can drain the life out of you, especially as you get older. Take Margaret, 79, who lives alone and tries to stay connected with her extended family. Her niece only reaches out when she needs something, and when Margaret politely says no, she's met with silence or worse. I thought family would be there for me. Margaret's not saying no out of spite. She's simply tired and protecting her time. But guilt doesn't care. It quietly sneaks in, settling beside her all evening, whispering that maybe she's being selfish. What makes guilt trippers so dangerous is that they often use your best qualities against you: your loyalty, your empathy, your sense of duty. They make you feel like drawing a boundary is somehow cruel, when in fact it's the only way to protect yourself. Over time, their emotional manipulation can become a hidden pattern that's tough to recognize until you realize you're constantly apologizing, over-explaining, and giving more than you should, just to avoid the cold silence that follows any boundary you try to set. Here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't have to justify every no. You don't have to trade your comfort just to gain their temporary approval. If someone can't love you unless you're constantly bending over backward, that's not love, it's leverage. And you are not a tool. You're not anyone's emotional caretaker just because you're older and have more time. Your heart isn't a doormat, and guilt should never be the price you pay for standing up for yourself. The next time someone tries to guilt you into crossing a line, let that be your cue not to bend, but to step further back. Peace isn't something you ask for. It's something you protect. Number 4, the secret competitor. Not every enemy is obvious. Some wear a smile, offer kind words, and even pretend to cheer you on. But beneath that surface, there's something else quietly brewing: a persistent, hidden rivalry. These are the secret competitors, people who don't just want to succeed, they want to make sure you don't shine too brightly alongside them. Think of someone like Helen, 76, who finally decided to join a local art class after years of neglecting her creativity. She was nervous but proud of herself for stepping out again. Her longtime friend Judy signed up too, claiming she wanted to support Helen. But week after week, Judy would find subtle ways to undermine her. Your piece is interesting, very bold for your age. Or, I love how carefree yours looks. I guess technique isn't everything. On the surface, it seemed friendly, but for Helen, it chipped away at her confidence until she started questioning if she even belonged in the class. Secret competitors don't attack head-on. They use comparison like a razor, quiet, sharp, and hard to detect. They always seem to have a slightly better story, a more exciting trip, a bigger compliment from someone you both know. And when you're around them, you never feel fully celebrated, just tolerated or, worse, diminished. The real danger here isn't just what they say, it's how it makes you shrink. You stop sharing your wins. You second-guess your progress. You learn to dim your light so theirs can shine a bit brighter. And that's not friendship. That's rivalry dressed up as support. At this stage in life, you don't need to compete with anyone. You've survived too much, lost too much, and built too much to waste energy on comparisons that don't bring you joy. If someone in your life can't genuinely celebrate your wins or only cheers louder when they've outdone you, it's time to take a step back. You deserve people who are a warm fire, not a cold scoreboard. Real friends lift you up and inspire you to keep going. They don't make you question why you started. And the older you get, the more precious that kind of support becomes. If you're still with me and finding these insights valuable, comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires and informs. Now let's move on. Number 5, the passive-aggressive manipulator. Some people don't yell. They don't argue. They don't confront. Instead, they've mastered the art of silence, sarcasm, and subtle digs that leave you questioning if you're overreacting. These are the passive-aggressive manipulators, and they're especially dangerous as you age because their behavior can slip under your radar while quietly draining your energy. Think of someone like Harold, 83, who's been in the same neighborhood for decades. His neighbor Doug always greets him with a smile and a wave, but when Harold asks for help with something small, like moving a planter or lifting a heavy box, Doug laughs it off with comments like, "Guess you're finally slowing down, huh?" Or, "I'd offer, but I've got two knees that still work, and I'd like to keep them that way." He doesn't outright refuse. He just wraps the sting in a joke. And Harold is left standing there, unsure if he's been insulted or simply dismissed. Passive-aggressive people play by a different set of rules. They avoid direct responsibility by pretending they didn't mean what they said. They leave messages unread. They cancel plans with no explanation. And when you bring it up, they flip the script, making you feel like you're the one being sensitive, dramatic, or difficult. Over time, this wears you down. You start tiptoeing around them, trying not to set them off. You convince yourself that it's not worth making a fuss, but it is, because the longer you stay in that toxic cycle, the more you start silencing your own needs just to keep the so-called peace that never really existed. At this stage in life, peace isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, and anyone who disrupts it with emotional games doesn't belong in your inner circle. You don't have to respond to every slight. You don't have to teach them how to treat you. You can simply step back, create space, and reclaim the quiet they've been stirring up. The truth is, a smile without sincerity is just a mask, and you've lived long enough to stop accepting fake kindness. Let your later years be filled with people who mean what they say and say what they mean. Anything less is just noise, and you deserve better. Final thoughts. Now that you've heard about these 5 types of people, take a moment to check in with yourself. Are any of them sitting too close in your life? Are you offering your time, your patience, or your energy to people who only take, only tear down, only twist your good intentions into obligations? The truth is, the older you get, the more valuable your peace becomes. You've carried people. You've forgiven more than you should have. You've kept silent to avoid stirring up conflict. But you don't have to keep doing that. Not anymore. These years aren't about enduring toxic patterns. They're about clearing them out. You have the right to protect your space. You have the right to choose who gets access to your heart, your time, your living room, and your phone. Being kind doesn't mean being available to people who leave you drained. It doesn't mean putting their comfort above your sanity. It means choosing compassion with boundaries, warmth with wisdom. And if that means walking away from someone who's been in your life for years, so be it. Sometimes the greatest act of kindness is the one you give yourself by finally saying, enough. So if any part of today's message spoke to you, don't let it slip away. Reflect on it and write it down. Make the choice to stop handing out pieces of yourself to people who never give anything back, because your later years aren't just about surviving. They're about healing, growing, and surrounding yourself with people who truly see you. And that starts with letting go of those who never did. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.